A 40-minute banger with only 20 kills included in that time, and this one feels a lot more explosive. The draft is certainly warranting more kills to be found, but whether or not that will be the case is what we'll have to wait and see. For Hellpigs, another victory to prove they deserve to be in playoffs contention. For Dewish team, a victory to prove they can still upset the best.
Indeed, and I think, honestly, the comp coming out of Dewish team, it has a lot of potential to win this game. Like, I think if these are two teams with even a slightly closer record, I'd perhaps say Dewish team are favored here. As it stands, though, I think Hellpigs have shown like they are a stronger team than Dewish team. But will it matter? I mean, we'll see. You know, he's going to walk into Taco here, but he was spotted out. That's interesting. Now, a ward did go down on the red buff. A lot of damage traded. Ooh, manages to dodge out the third Q. Well, actually, interesting award. So despite Taku attempting to dodge it, okay, does end up going back to the red anyway. Standing right on top of it. Hong 2 trades a ward as well onto Elise's Raptors. And also interesting that Hong 2's gone for the Doran's ring. I think a lot of people opt for the Doran's shield in a matchup like this, but perhaps saying that, you know, with the first strike as opposed to something like the grasp, is actually just going to be okay to weather the storm from Gangplank. WSL, he starts bot side, and Taco actually starts top side, so going to be different paths here. You know, WSL and the Elise going to path up towards that Renekton. And also another thing I just saw is that Tide actually has TP on the Ezreal, so you know, playing for a maximum kind of lane pressure here, but not going to have actual 2v2 power, just more about poking, kind of sustaining and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was quite curious to see what Ezreal build it would be, right? If it would be the traditional tier build into the Muramana, or the new build that I've seen sometimes be played, right? Like Essence Reaver, Navori into Cyrilda's Grudge. So you sort of get enough, you know, mana return from that build alone. You just have a little bit more scaling. Oh, actually in a lot of trouble right now. ICA is going to fall on down for first blood, as easy as that. And whether or not they look to try and sniff out a second kill is yet to be found. Oh, the root, the flash! But the saving grace is it's a double kill to end how the support that picks up the kills. Can Hellpigs find retaliation? WSL's in the area. Aftershock has been popped. Taco's in trouble. Zhao Tu living. But a flash auto on his head. The Triumph procs. WSL comes down from the rappel and finds that kill. Hong2 has to answer back, has to get something, but the hook, the Glacial Augment, and an Elise with a double as well.
Wow, what a massive win for Dewish team. I mean, really coming out of the gate swinging now at 4-1, only 3 minutes into the game. I feel like Hellpig's bot lane really fumbled that, right? You've got the double range poke lane, and without that combat summoner, just kind of got engaged on and fell over. We'll have to see what happened. Was it just a stray hook that hit onto ICA? I think it was. Okay, so it got rooted by the feathers and then hooked up, and there really just isn't much you can do at that point. So Dewish team, I mean, really just taking it to him. And then in that mid jungler as well, just the strength of Elise early game really kind of proved to be too much. So, I mean, great start here for Dewish team. You can't really ask for more than that.
Look, it's Fasting Zaya. Have you seen this version?
I've not seen the 003 Zaya before.
A best case scenario, isn't it, for Dewish team? A comp that you are a very big fan of. The Elise that gets ahead, a very strong bot lane that's also now in a position of power. And this is Hellpig saying, yeah, we like to scale. We've tried something a little bit different. And it's been the most disastrous start to this game.
It has, and I guess like what we were saying, it is fortunate, I suppose, for Hellpigs that the kills did go over to Enhal on the Nautilus. At the same time, though, you know, Pepper just picks up a lot of golden assists, and Elise, importantly, being 2-0, you know, does kind of put this game in jeopardy. Taco is going to be coming down, but actually might end up running into Dewish team's bot lane. Now spotted out on the ward. Cleanse is up for Pepero, so I don't think there's any sort of dive that can come through here. Ooh, WSL, I think he's actually going to find Taco on these Krugs.
Yeah, this is dicey because it was getting protected by the Dewish team's bot lane for the meantime. Oh, they know.
Oh, did he actually not realize though?
Was he actually having his camera panned elsewhere? Enhal was forced to go away from this tower. They don't want to sacrifice the CS. They want to go for the long way around and say, well, if you stick around, we'll go for the kill. Max range hook into the execute. And this time, Pepero gets that killing blow. Can they find a second now? As Enhal looks for the passive, the root is there. The Riptide to slow him down. But my God, this bot lane has been explosive.
Yeah, wow, they're really running away with it. Actually, though, a dive coming out on mid.
Zhao2.
He's not 6.
It certainly is in a lot of trouble right now. It's going to go the way of the Silas. So Hong2 answers back with his first kill of the game. And at least they have a point to prove and a way back in now more than anything.
I think that kill is massive, right? Like, denying Gangplank that whole wave, this is a matchup that Gangplank should be winning pretty handily, but is actually down a significant amount of CS. Might have a fight come out here. There's a lot of poke from Hellpigs, but can you actually contest it? I'm not sure. I feel like the Dewish team 3v3 is better, but it's not a 3v3. It's a 4v3. Hook comes out.
Once again, it's a Magna onto this Ashe. The Ashe doesn't get to exist now. 0-3 in 5 minutes. It's unbelievable. Flashing forward for another kill. They will find it now. A double for Hong as he gets himself amongst it. WSL again on a scoreline which is just enviable. 4-0. Back to the Dragon they go, and they finish what they started.
Yeah, what a wild game, right? I don't think when we were loading into this one, we were expecting to have 12 kills in only 6 minutes, but that's what we've got here, and it might even be more. Hong2, he's kind of looking for it, but I think that is probably going to be all she wrote.
And what a reminder that the last time they faced off against each other, it was that 40-minute game with only 20 kills. This time they're saying it's not going to be that close. It's not going to be that slow. We want to break this game wide open from the get-go.
I think with the Nautilus in the game, right, and the Elise as well, that's really speeding it up, just having those two champs force over and over. Let's take a look at this, because this is a 4v3 if they can wait for Silas, but IC8 walks up so early, it feels questionable to me, right? You can just wait for Hong2 to come and then probably win this fight, but instead, I want to say the only way to lose that fight is to go in there early. So, yeah, very, very weird out of Hellpigs there, perhaps just feeling desperate or not on the same page.
Yeah, very bizarre to say the least. And look, Dewish team are not going to mind if you make those mistakes. They will certainly punish you. They were equipped with the tools to do just that. And certainly now feeling quite happy about their chances in this game. Yes, Zhao2 is being targeted. Yes, he is behind, but he's managed to claw back to what is now only a 10 CS deficit. So there is a beacon of light there for the cheeky GP counterpick.
And gold lead is reasonable. It's not amazing at this point. I think mainly because plates haven't really been taken yet. Only been one plate taken, which is on this bot tower. And I think, yeah, so far, just the kills, it's not enough gold on its own to really explode this, but it's more a signs of things to come, right? It can mean, later on towers will go down, or perhaps we can pick up the Herald and do a bit more with it. And Zhao2, he's going to be the one kind of feeling the pain here. He's going to have to come into this. And WSL has actually left the game, although it has reconnected. Definitely don't want your 4-0 Elise disconnecting.
No, you certainly need that. I mean, that's a Night Harvester shot completed before 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 30 minutes usually being the benchmark to get those mythic items online if you're doing well, right? Even later if things are going poorly. But 8 minutes on a champion that snowballs as hard as Elise, this might be, once again, a textbook example of why aren't we banning these champions?
It's weird, right? Because it felt like the trade could have been good. I feel like, what are they... They gave up the Elise, they take away the Sedge, but not picking, and they got the Ashe, which is actually decent, but then it was really surprising to me that there was no Jax picked up in that first 3, right? They picked the Silas, but it feels, I feel like Jax is so much higher of a pick in priority than Silas, especially when you've got the Sedge, right? It feels like an insane combo, so I'm surprised that that didn't get picked up. But I mean, credit to Hong2, like so far the Silas is doing well. But, the Elise is doing better.
Oh, I mean, yeah, to say the least, right? And this Elise is nightmare fuel. I'm actually really excited to see where they can go from here now, because as much as we harp on about how bad the Renekton's have been in recent days, that you do just get punished by the obvious option of a Jax or a Cassante or even a Sion being just a little bit better. Look, I mean, this Elise can literally go wherever she likes, and even if you don't want to interact, she'll solo kill.
Pretty much. Both junglers are around bot lane here, though. There's no actual objective up, but Tucker perhaps looking mid on Zhao2, who does have the flash as well as the W. WSL won't quite spot him out. He is here for the counter gank, though.
Lurking in the shadows, just protecting that mid wave as WSL decides, what do I do? They now will just hit themselves a bit of a high five in the mid point of that river.
Dewish team's bot lane, they have priority, so he can move up to this play first. Taco, I'm surprised he's still in the river.
Still here, still punished. So much CC, the flash burn, the repel coming down. Ult into the blast cone. And so much had to be used there by Taco, just so unnecessary.
I really wonder what he was entering the river for, because without the bot priority, Hong2...
Oh!
What a beast.
And the cannon barrage afterwards.
Yeah, wow. What
I mean,
a sick sidestep.
that's a thumbs up that you feel good about.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that though, Taco like entering the river, I really don't know what for, because it feels like there was no bot gank and there was also no drag available. Taco though, he is starting up the Herald, but it's going to come at a cost of your bot lane being forced off their tower. The Astral Shift was just used from Tide, and I think if you're Helpix here, you definitely have to feel that if Elise is not contesting this Herald, she will be bot. So they are forced quite far off this tower now. Taco, where will he find... Oh, the hook just goes wide. Pepper actually going to take a million damage on the way out.
Oh, and comes down into a true shot barrage. Took a big risk there, having tanked up the turret that the ults had to be traded. But there's been so much pressure in this bot lane. And so far, no, that was a bit of an indication as to what Helpix could do to try and sneak a kill back.
And Taco on the Sejuani has actually taken away a lot of WSL's topside camps. So I feel like this actually worked out pretty well here for Helpix, given the situation that their bot lane is, right? You're not really expecting them to be able to survive on the weak side, but they survive, and, you know, on the other side of the map, Taco actually thrives, gets the Herald, takes away a lot of these camps. And now we're just resetting, probably path out back towards bot.
And Tide is such a big part of what makes this team so strong, right? Yes, Hong2 is an absolute beast on the scaling mid-majors, but Tide has been right up there with the kill share. His team really rally around him being the star of the show in an 80 carry meta. So the fact that they are this far behind on a different champion like an Ezreal, right, which, you know, you want it to try and spike quite quickly, it can be a bit of a concern.
Speaking of spiking quickly, it's insane to me that a 0-2 Gangplank with 64 CS can finish Essence Reaver this early into the game. That champion just prints gold, you know, it's actually like a, I don't know, it's insane, right? Reminds me of like Kleptomancy, right? Just
sure.
in terms of a whole champion though. But yeah, will we see Dewish team able to extend any of these leads? Hong2 as the Roa finished pretty early. Herald is coming down on mid, and members will be brought up to counter it.
You just want to go back to like season 1 when you had like GPM runes. That's those were the days, weren't they?
They were.
Either way, the Herald will be summoned in mid, as you said, and it will find a little bit of value, bit of success, bit of plates, bit of money, which will look to try and tie up this game, as it's really a fragile 300 gold lead in Dewish team's favor, despite being so strong. Pepero getting cheeky with it, just reminding Tide that you're not allowed to step up to this wave.
And this could end up being a dragon fight. It's only 12 minutes in, but both teams are relatively even, like you said. I'd like to see how the mid lane gold is doing, because it's always hard to tell with Gangplank, right? Like, he's down 40 CS and also down 2 kills and plates. At the same time, though, he makes so much from First Strike and from his passive that he might be closer than we think.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like this game is very different in terms of the approach, right? Dewish team have been farming up kills, whereas Helpix have been getting plates and CS, and that's what's kept this game as close as it has been, right? So you'd be frustrated, I'm sure, as Dewish team, the fact that you do have this many kills, and it's not a bigger lead at this point, but second Dragon is up, they got the first. They're in a position to rotate now, having put members in the mid lane to rotate and come through as a 4-man.
It's starting up, so they're trying to go for the CFO, try and get that Dragon Soul extremely early into the game. Helpix, I think they want to contest. They have a strong Silas. Ezreal comes out.
Yeah, Trisha Barrage reveals, but it might be a little bit too late, as it is going to be confirmed now by WSL. Going to be fighting on top of a Cannon Barrage, and it makes it ever too easy. Taco is dead. It's a guaranteed kill onto Hong2 as well, unless he decides to turn around and try and fight for it. A flash to guarantee that he is not going to survive. And then Essence Reaver GP gets that shot down.
2 kills picked up there for the side of Dewish team, and I think actually more importantly, they pick up that second drag, right? They're on kind of on time to look to pick up that solid around 23, 24 minutes. And I think as well, the kill going on in the Gangplank is pretty important, right? Because he's definitely been a little far behind. Let's take a look at the replay. So I think a lot of engage at the start comes out onto Enhao, and it actually looks pretty good, but I think he buys so much time with the stopwatch that it actually ends up completely turning the fight, right? Because, like, yeah, just watch this engage. It looks like he's going to die instantly. Stopwatch comes in and buys so much time for the feathers to be pulled back, and then Hong2 doesn't have his E, and I assume doesn't have flash as well. Just can't get over this wall, and is eventually taken down.
Certainly is, and doesn't matter if that's a 4-man knock-up hijacked away. I mean, your bot lane just doesn't have the DPS to back you up from the safety off the high ground. Frustration, really, for Hellpigs in a position where it was, 300-400 gold away from them. And suddenly now is much more where Dewish team feel it should be, right? Up by 2K.
And it would be big here, I think, for Dewish team to pick up a win, right? Because I think their only win so far was against Sem9 previously. And this was back when Sem9 back then hadn't picked up a win at all, right? So it was kind of an expected win almost. Hold that thought, Hong2, he does not have flash if something connects.
Oh my god, so much CC and everything misses. An Ash ult for good measure as well, just trying to protect as that gank would happen. But it feels like Hong2's got away with one.
He really did. I think if anything hits there, he does just go down. But back to that point, I mean, Dewish team, their only win was against that Sem9. There was basically a free win at the time. So this would be their first win saying, okay, we're not that team that's just a free win for pretty much every other team in the league. Like, we're here actually to do some damage.
Yeah, especially if it's a case of Hellpigs saying, you know, we can take down some top competitors, like we beaten DCG, we beaten Frank. What does it mean? Are we just very inconsistent? Because it seems to be the case right now. Taco in trouble. Ulting, he's going all out. But where to? You're dashing across the wall, but a flash to follow. And WSL now moves to 5 kills.
Yeah, really nice performance from him here. The third Dragon, I feel like if teams can ever get these first 2 drags in a row, it feels so good, right? You just can start putting the soul on the board so early into the game. Only 2 more minutes on it here. The GPO as well makes it very difficult to actually trade on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, Dewish team kind of just like winning on all fronts, right?
Yeah, they're getting pressure top. First turret falls down there. They're pressuring mid at the same time as well and completely saying, well, Hellpigs, you're not allowed anything in retaliation, right? Taco was there to protect Tide to make sure that they could at least get a turret in trade. Dewish team say no, nothing is possible, it's not available. We are snowballing this game and snowballing at a very rapid pace.
They are going to pick up this Herald, and like you said, rapid pace. They can probably, despite losing the bot tier tower, botting tier 1, they can use this to break open mid. And I think as well, having the Herald at this time, you can just drop it with this third Dragon if you want to try secure it. And I think that is really going to propel them to potentially an early win here. I think when you pick up Soul late game is sometimes impactful, sometimes not, right? Like sometimes people have scaled enough by that point that it doesn't matter. But I think Soul, extremely early into the game, especially when it's Mountain Soul, it can be real hard for people to deal with, especially because they don't have their pen by that point.
Yeah, I mean, how many Mountain Souls have we had today? It just feels like it's been on repeat.
Too many.
Right? It just feels almost like we want Cloud Dragon back, which is...
Oh, don't go that far, mate. I don't want any Cloud Dragons back.
We missed the movement speed. We missed seeing that one and go, let's actually just ignore that dragon. But you're right. I mean, that much mitigation that early, especially when you're this far ahead, you know, you're saying, well, we need armor penetration. It's just not that easy to find.
And I think WSL is actually going for the healing reduction. So getting that very early to kind of make sure that Hong2 never has a chance to kind of start, you know, getting those big heals with the Kingslayer in those team fights. So I actually like it in terms of early itemization. And as well now that it gives Magic Pen, it does work very well with Elise, obviously. Magic Pen on that champion feels really good. Dragon in 20 seconds. Herald is still being held in WSL's inventory. Hellpigs, I think you kind of have to contest this. Same time though, Hong2, he has no flash.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble once again.
Oh,
sidesteps it one more time.
The confidence out of the man.
That's
Not once, but
3
twice.
times.
Oh,
yeah.
3 times, yeah. Actually, you're right. There was that mid play as well.
It's unbelievable, just the ability to say, I don't care what you have, you can just kill me, but I will outplay you at every chance given. So, Dewish team missed the chance to try and execute. That would have been the invitation they needed to guarantee that this next Dragon was on pace.
Looks like they are going to pick it up despite that, though. And they do lose something for it. I think they lost their top tier 1 as well as a lot of top lane gold. You have to say it's still worth for Dewish team, but it's not like Hellpigs got literally nothing for it. They did what they could. But yeah, I mean, Dewish team, I'm feeling really good about their chances. I think the thing is, if you pick up 3 drags this early, obviously it's nice if you can pick up the 4th drag straight after, right? But it gives you so many chances to pick up a drag. All you need is to steal it once or have one fight go in your favor. And sometimes, even if you're outscaled, you will just end up picking up the soul. And here, I don't think Dewish team are in any danger of being outscaled. So I really like their position.
Yeah, I think it's a really comfortable position to be in, one that they've not found themselves in too often, but they are playing with a lot of confidence despite that, right? So It's a clear indication that, you know, scrim performances have clearly worked out in this result as well, but it's just been hard to emulate it on stage.
Yeah, that's something that maybe has been, you know, baiting people a lot of the time, right? Especially with stuff like the Varus, but actually seeing, you know, this kind of performance coming out feels really good. Collector completed here for Zhao 2. And wow, I mean, it'll mean a lot, I think, for Dewish team if they do pick up this win. Not just, like, obviously for the standings, it's sort of whatever. You're not really expecting them to reach into those playoffs at this point. But it perhaps, you know, puts them as no longer that free win. Teams have to start thinking about them. Arrow actually connects on to Pepero, who holds the cleanse.
Yeah, good restraint shown there by Pepero, right? Holding cleanse as well as ult, so not going to be baited out by a fight that never really was there. They're just toying with him, chucking out a cheeky ult from the Ashe to see if anything would stick. The headbutt does confirm it. Both mid-tier ones are fairly crippled. Just needs one good wave, one good bit of siege. That will open up the map to make it a little bit easier, and I think it really is a case of Hellpig saying, we need this turret to fall on down. They're going to TP back to the mid-wave.
That tower being alive, I think, actually helps Hellpigs a lot. I think that the Ezreal Ashe on the mid-wave is pretty good at getting priority at this point in the game. And being able to secure that... Oh, hold that thought, Taco. Oh, the hook almost connects. Being able to hold that mid-priority for this dragon is going to be really, really important. Whether or not they can actually fight it, I'm not sure. The gold is relatively close, but it feels like Dewish team are just that little bit more ahead.
Certainly are. Look at the CC chain right now into Lucky Unite. Still living. The dominance was enough. Another stun into Enhao. They can't kill. Confirm shot. Taco is going to fall on down because Pepero executes him with the Gale Force. Ult for good measure afterwards. The disengage is clean, and it was not even a full fight. Zhao 2 TP's in at the end.
And that was so close. Tide almost picks up 2 kills there. You know, if he's not this far behind after the early game, potentially that's the window for Hellpigs to get back into the game. But the fact they missed that, and now also the Zhonya's picked up for Enhao's Nautilus. I love it.
That shows you how fed he was.
It does. So let's take a look at the replay. I mean, a lot of engage comes out onto the Kunai here. But he actually just managed to get a single E off, so he didn't end up going down. Enhao as well flashes out. Really good use of their health bars just to keep alive. Still have pressure, but not actually go down. And Tide, oh my god, he's so close to picking up kills. Doesn't quite manage that. Ashe ult does not have a cooldown. Every time we're looking mid, it's up.
It's like 40 seconds. It's crazy. Even without items, I swear, it just feels illegal to be able to have that much global map pressure that often.
It certainly does. Dragon here, 1 minute 35 away. And we were talking about that mid priority, but I think Pepero, you know, has both sums. Probably doesn't need to be scared on the mid wave at all. Actually, you know, really good confidence, I guess, from him, or perhaps just like holding the cleanse. It's really nice, right? If you're never threatened by that Ashe ult, it doesn't really matter if other members are hit by it, because you'll always still be allowed to put up the DPS. Has a Navori, now building a Zeal item as well, perhaps the PD. And Hellpigs, they're doing what they can to set up this vision, but it's really kind of do or die from them. If they end up losing this dragon, I think their chances of winning this game kind of go down the drain with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the gold has, for the most part, stayed at a fairly stable 3k lead, but this is that danger point, right, where both teams are still having an invitation to potentially come back. But I think if the soul point gets picked up and there is a contest for it, the Dewish team win pretty comfortably. I feel like that is certainly starting to put the final nail in the coffin.
Interestingly here, 35 more seconds away, Dewish team actually dropping wards on topside, so perhaps respecting the fact that a trade could come out. You know, want to say that, okay, we're ahead enough that we can get everything we need here. Ooh, actually pings on the Baron. They do have pretty good DPS. Helping so, will they check it? I mean, they have lots of tools. I haven't
Look at
found
that
out yet,
damage.
though.
They're going to find out now. Enhao's going to reveal, but he's got a Zhonya's, so how easily do you take down Nautilus? True Shot Barrage is burned. Hook just misses. Maybe Cassante, it's a bit of a blessing. You don't want him.
So now perhaps looking back towards that dragon. We have 5 people on midwave. Zhao, or Hong 2 has a TP behind.
Ashe ult. Goes onto the GP of all people. Still gets to keep those oranges. Doesn't need to cleanse. So far away. So hard to engage on. And it's like, well, yeah, the Baron's up there again. We know you want to try and stop us at this dragon, but we want to fight you first.
Yeah, they're trying to bring Hellpigs up. And now Tide is doing an insane amount of damage. I'm not sure if I've seen a missed skill shot here.
Here we go. There's the Cannon Barrage, there's the Featherstorm as well. Big ultimates burnt, nice and early. Hijacked ultimate still held on to. Nautilus is there if need be. In jumps Prepper with the execute and snipes again with the Gale Force. And it's now Taco trying to be really the hero as the Scasante. Down comes WSL from the rappel. Lacunite just flashing away and Taco dies to the turret. Oh, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that was an insanely close fight. I think if you're Hellpigs, that's exactly what you need, right? You at least delay this game by another 5 minutes by picking up the Dragon. But the problem is there's really no... Ooh.
Oh my god,
actually,
look at
will we
this.
just be doing the or the Baron?
Don't worry, boys. We lost that team fight. Let's rush Baron.
Yeah. Okay, the Ash Arrow connects. Hong2's going to start walking up, but I think this actually might go over to Dewish team. I'm not sure if you can get here in time. It's extremely low. Perhaps play for the fight after?
Bishop Barrage. It's done enough damage for Smite. Hong2 now with Renekton flashing on top of Xiaotu's head. He's got the oranges. He's living. And he survives.
Oh my god. They live on so low health. And Hong2, I respect the attempt. Let's take a look at the replay though. I mean, pay attention to Tide at the start of this. Found so much damage onto Xiaotu, which was really, really nice. I honestly just hit so many abilities there. But here I felt like, I think over-engaged maybe from Taco onto Pepro. You know, just taking a lot of damage and there's no real follow-up for it, and then just gets destroyed by Pepper Zai at the end. And then honestly, you know, very low health bars here. Unfortunately, Tides Ezreal missed the majority of the team here, which would have been perhaps, you know, 4 kills if they hit, right? They're extremely low. And off the back of that, the Soul is denied, but Baron now picked up by Dewish team. Still in the driver's seat.
Very different story, as you say, if that True Shot Barrage hits multiple members, right? That's a lot of bounty gold going their way. No more so than WSL, that's having the career highlight so far, right? 7-0 with a 1k shutdown if it can be found. But a Baron-inspired team now looks to try and siege. They don't have the soul point, but they do have the ability to try and take down a few more structures and guarantee that this map well and truly does belong to them.
Looking on Taco, but he's very tanky. Okay, he's not tanky enough.
It's not the Cassante we're used to. And how, oh my god, look at that. Soaks it up. Does he walk away? Don't tell me he lives.
Oh, Tide went over the wall though. Is there any punishment? I'm not sure there is.
Oh, WSL, that's the shotgun you need. Nowhere to repel to. Comes down, Taco goes in, can't find it. Baited by Yelise. Hong2 trying as well, goes golden. Stasis effect is just not balanced. And Pepro survives as well. This is really on a knife's edge, but Hellpigs just can't find it.
Yeah, the Dewish team health bars are criminal. I have to feel like if Tide especially wasn't so far behind, that he would have found, honestly, so many kills in this game. Oh my god, the reaction time. That was really impressive.
That is a player that's not looking at shop as they're recalling.
That's for sure. He pressures the map even when recalling. But let's have a look at what happened here. So there was an initial engage onto Taco. We thought he was tanky, but he actually just kind of explodes. I think it was a bit of an overreach from Enhao. He gets the flash hook ult onto Tide, but there's no actual follow-up. And then, yeah, very low health bars on the way out. And I think Hong2 maybe just needs to play a little slower, because he ended up dying, you know, very early here. At the same time, though, Xiaotu's on the way, so it feels like you kind of need to play it fast. But tragic again for him, right? Just everyone's always left on 1 HP. They were just a bit stronger.
Yeah, a little bit stronger, a little bit disjointed, a little bit too slippery is Dewish team, right? With their ability to weave in and out of a fight with repels, with stasis effects, with feather storms, for instance, right? So frustration, right? And it is certainly drawing Hellpigs in time and time again to say, well, come at us. But almost like a wrestling match, they're tagging each other in, right? You know, I'm down to 10%, your time now to soak up that damage and lift the tail to tail. So that 1k shutdown still remains. This time the hook connects, this time the damage is there. And Hong2, he's bitten off more than he can chew as Taco is next on the chopping block. And how? Gonna go golden. Will the fight continue? It certainly will as a shutdown is found onto the GP. And the defense continues, but it still is Dewish team's game to win.
For sure, and only 1 minute left here on what is potentially the soul. And this is the problem for Hellpigs, right? Is that every dragon is potentially Dewish team's soul from here on out. And I think they should have the control to do it this time. 907 on WSL's Elite. I mean, what a performance.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And now the second zone is complete as well, and it just really adds salt into the wounds, right? I mean, how often do you ever see a support actually get to evolve into the Zonias, right? We've seen Seeker's Arm Guards. It tends to be stuck at that. You're saying, why on earth are you trying to rush a massive item like this? But it all comes down to the fact that it was a double kill to start off that game.
Right, he got so much gold injected into him super early. 25 more seconds here. Poke does come out. There's TP on the mid wave, so this is going to be 5v5 contest. And I feel like Hellpigs have a chance here. They are down a lot of gold, but on the mid wave is where they shine. They have a lot of poke, as long as they can respect the engage.
A lot of flashes have just become available again for all these carries too, so bear that in mind that we're going to be certainly having a very explosive showdown for the Soul Point. Arrow goes out and completely parts the sea. They don't find anything with it.
Chasing down. GP ult from Silas is dropped. But Kunai's taking a lot of damage, so it's good poke onto the front line, and Drag has not been started up. Ooh, I'm actually curious. Hellpig's trying to start it. I feel like Hellpigs just need to play it slow. They have superior poke. I don't think you need to start it here. I think that's just better for Dewish team.
Yeah, and it feels rough. They've just burnt two massive AoE ults to really very little success as well. Hellpig's still going to entertain the idea of taking away this dragon. A 1v1 breaks out on the bottom side of your screen between Hong2 and Lucky Unite, but the dragon is still engaged. That is going to be Zhao2 dropping his own cannon barrage as well. Glacial Prison goes up, doesn't do anything. They turn their attention onto Hong2. He's dead. And then the dragon resets. Add insult to injury. Hellpigs look lost. They look confused. And they look like they're about to fall on down. Double kill for WSL. He's now double digits on this Elise. Please ban this champion. And Dewish team will take down everybody in their sights. They're aiming for the perfect ace. And with tied Adamada, he's out of options.
Out of options indeed. Perhaps out of this game completely. I think this could be the end coming in from Dewish team. I want to see how many kills is WSL at? Is he on 11 now? It's some ridiculous
I want to say
number.
so.
Yeah. And wow, look at the damage in that fight. Pepero, really putting in the work. And this looks like it's going to be it.
It certainly does look like that, Shock. What a remarkable performance here from Dewish team. 24 kills to 8. Absolutely shattering their performance up against Hellpigs last time. And saying, well, there's one more win. The rest of the teams in this region need to take note.
It's super well deserved there. And I really like what they did pretty much from start to finish, right? I think the draft was interesting, but we liked it. And then, yeah, I mean, really came out swinging. I mean, I've never, so far in a PCS game, looked at the comps and been like, okay, we're going to have 12 kills in the first 6 minutes. But that's what we had. I mean, across the board, there was just, ganks and fights going down everywhere. And I think as well, Elise and Nautilus, that pairing found so many opportunities together. And that's really what we've been missing in those double range support matchups, right? Like for a lot of the split, we've seen, the Lulu Yumi trade, or we've seen what else we've seen? Like the Nami versus Lulu is another one, right? Just champs that are very good at disengaging, not so good at going forward. But now seeing pairings like the Nautilus and Elise coming back into the meta, starting to get that fast-paced gameplay coming back.
Yeah, and I certainly enjoy it, right? I'm a big fan of the melee supports because I'm sure it is the same for the supports themselves.